This is a story of how your inner child sometimes come out for play and why I think you should just let it.
This is crazy. It's so much fun.
Places are all in who you share them with, and it's life. And the point is enjoying who you share it with. Joy is who you share it with.
Cars are so expensive, so what if there's a better way?
I'm not a car guy. I've never been, which means every vehicle I ever owned has been boring. The cheapest possible solution, because the more you care about something, the more you invest. That's my theory, at least. If you can have one theory in life, that's mine. You can quote me on it. The more interest, the more invest. I'm the furthest from a mechanic you can be. I tend to open the hood when something is wrong, but honestly, I have no idea what I'm looking at. No, really, I have no idea. I'm not ignorant. I know there's oil to lubricate stuff and gas that runs the car and the battery, but that's about the extent of it. Yet I have the need for a means of transportation all the time. I'm dependent on this thing working, but there's a lot that goes into it. Spare tires, service, inspection. The problem is that we live on the countryside in Sweden, far away from anything. And when my wife goes to work, I'm left at home with this. My trusted Berlingo from 2015. It's not the trusty Berlingo it once was though. Lately all sorts of errors have started to appear, and whenever it isn't working, I'm stuck. There's no alternative for me except riding a bike. And lately I've realized something about myself. I've gotten comfortable. I don't want to ride a bike. Not only that, I only have a couple of days to get this to pass inspection, and if it doesn't, I won't be allowed to drive it. So I need a failsafe, a vehicle that isn't too expensive. I don't want to buy a third car. I want something fairly cheap that can still hold a piece of wood or a grocery bag. And that's when I stumbled upon this. This is a Swedish brand that collaborated with Teenage Engineering that I've been obsessed with ever since I saw them. So when I saw this electric moped, I just had to buy it. But I don't know if this will actually take me all the way to the store and back on one charge. It was a bit of a gamble on my end. But also, out of the box, this has no storage. I want to fix that, but I also want to make it look the aesthetic it deserves. And I need to make it a home. Basically, I would need a way to actually take this to the store and be able to bring back the groceries and have a garage to store it in.
Hej.
Hej.
Vad har du köpt?
En moped.
Vad ska du ha den till då?
Handla.
Kan inte handla med den.
Jag tänker lösa det. That was one of those moments when it feels like the people closest to you can see through you. It felt like she saw that buying this was a decision made by the boy inside of me, justified with irrational arguments masked as excuses. But I couldn't think about that because I had to take the car to inspection. Alright, so I'm getting close to the inspection now. I don't know how this will ever pass because there are so many error messages, warnings. But I don't know. See you in a bit. I don't know how this happened, but I passed inspection with some minor things I need to do before next year's inspection, but for now I'm allowed to drive this car. So now let's go back and fix that moped. I need to prove my wife wrong. We've all seen those videos online from people driving on mopeds with more packing than you can imagine, even more people than you can imagine. So I don't think I'm crazy to think I can turn this into something that can hold more than just a single driver. Right off the bat, I was thinking storage in the front and in the back. The total load capacity of this thing is 150 kilos, which means with my weight I can add an additional 70 kilos of storage on top of this. Okay, 60. So for everything I do, I want to keep the weight down as much as possible. They actually have included a bunch of screw holes in this thing to be able to customize it even further. And for those thinking this is a sponsored video, it is not. I bought this with my own hard-earned cash, my YouTube money. In the back, I'm thinking a black 3D printed storage box that can hold some items. In the front, I'll want a walnut box that can just store a bag of food. But I also have a couple of other ideas. One that should be kept a secret, but since this is a YouTube video, I'll have to reveal it, but more about that later. So there I was with a slight feeling that this was the type of decision I made based on what I wanted rather than rational decision making. I was kind of convinced by my inner child that this would be a good idea, that I will be using this to go to the grocery store. But in fact, a lot of the time here in Sweden it is really cold and the streets can get covered in snow and ice, making it impossible to drive a moped around. But I couldn't let her be right, like always. I needed to prove to myself and my wife that I could use this thing to actually go get groceries. But the first deal of business was to design things, so I spent a good chunk of time trying to draw up solutions that would look good, making things that I thought would fit the aesthetic of the bike, and the longer this would take, the worse the weather would get. The other obstacle is that the grocery store isn't that far away, it's about 10 kilometers there, so back and forth would only be 20 kilometers. But with the added weight of me and the upgrades and the groceries and the fact that I would be pushing the moped to the max speed of 45 kilometers an hour, would it still make it? The first thing I attacked were these two screws at the front, and this was the perfect spot for a bottle. So I made this. This fits a regular bottle, so I printed that in ABS GF, which looks awesome because there are no visible layer lines and it will also be strong enough to endure some weather. The fact that the bike was designed together with Teenage Engineering and that they told me that there were screws on the bike for your own customization made me instantly purchase this moped. And the price wasn't that much, to be honest. If you haven't seen Teenage Engineering before, they have made some really cool gear. Just Google it. Don't burden me with educating you on all they've done. Google it. No one uses Google anymore, do they? When the bottle holder was in place, I started designing and printing that secret thing that is going on one of the other available screws. And as that was printing, I had another pressing issue. Where would I store the moped? I couldn't keep it in the workshop. So I walked around the farm to look for a good place to store it. The garage was my first idea, but already quite jammed and we're renovating it to be a store. My old workshop, well, it is currently in pieces getting turned into kids' rooms. And that's when I realized that I'm a woodworker. I should be able to build the moped a garage. So I modeled up my own garage for the moped in Fusion 360. I'm not a CAD guru, but I know my way around Fusion to do the most basic things. Because of that, I made a course on how I use Fusion to make custom storage boxes for my doors. And that course gives a good starting point into Fusion by going through the basics needed to make things like this. After learning CAD modeling, my life has changed a lot. I'm always asked to do things for the home because in many cases we need things custom to our own needs. So my neighbor approached me with a delicate issue. He had removed a part from his car and needed new ones without holes in it. So I set out modeling the part. This was a very intricate part, and as I could print it, there was a lot of stock support material that I couldn't get off, so I turned to PCBWay. I uploaded the file on their website, and because they can manufacture in so many ways, I asked them to make it for me. After the process, I got a quote for both parts and I could accept the quote. 2 weeks later, the parts arrived and I could hand them over to the neighbor for painting. Learning CAD has been the best experience for me, and knowing that I don't need to own every manufacturing machine out there is great. I just know that PCBWay can do it for me. Thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Here's a quick tour of how not to build a garage in 10 simple steps. I mean, you can buy kits to just assemble, but I wanted the challenge of drawing and building it myself. And also the kits I found online were cheap, but they seemed a bit wonky. So here we go. Step number 1, do the foundation. This was just tedious work. I placed 12 35 by 35 centimeter stones in a well-organized rectangle after my drawing. Step number 2, build the frame. Step number 3, lay the flooring. This is when I realized I drew the flooring to the length of the frame, which isn't correct, so my material wouldn't last placed the other way around. Beginner mistake that I just had to get over and make the material last by overlapping. This is all pressure treated, and after all this was done, have a day off because your back is fucked. Step number 4, do one wall at a time. Raise them up and make sure they're level. As I was doing the back wall, I still hadn't realized my mistake. Maybe you've already seen my mistake, I suspect you have. I have nothing but myself to blame here. I simply wasn't thinking, just making. Luckily for me, I did get footage of the exact moment I realized. That's when I realized I wouldn't be able to add cladding and paint the back wall when it was facing the barn. So then I had to take it all down again, add cladding, paint it, and then put it back in place. Luckily for me, I got some professional help. Step number 5, do the ceiling joists. I 3D printed cut guides for the ends because I can. I thought that would be the easiest, and on top of the ceiling joist I placed the roof battens. Step number 6, mount the ceiling. I went with this plastic thing, it was cheap and it will let light through because I won't have any electricity in the garage and Sweden gets dark during winter. I mean, really dark. Alright, so it's day 3, it's time to put the cladding on and it's a beautiful day, like the summer's still here, but if I look at the forecast, it looks like these are the last couple of days of summer and I'm not sure how driving a moped in the cold is gonna be. So I need to speed this up. Step number 7. I did the cladding battens off camera and then the cladding. There's nothing in my life that makes me feel more masculine than hammering nails. At this point of the build, it kind of looked like I was building a fortress against zombies and vampires. I had to remind myself there are no vampires, unless you count Dracula. Then I did the door, a Z frame. Remember to put the Z in the right direction. Ask me how I know. Then I painted. It's too boring to watch. But the upside, I'm really fast at it. This isn't even my fastest. Lastly, I hung some solar powered lights, and as a final thing I used my laser to cut a simple acrylic sign that I could hang on the front of the garage. I took the image of the moped and turned that into a vector and had that cut. Having this tool enables me to do things I couldn't otherwise do with my diode laser, amongst them cutting acrylic. The white acrylic is a glow-in-the-dark acrylic, so hopefully the sign will provide some light as well. When that was done, I could park the moped on the inside and the garage seconds as a shed, hence the size, so in the future I can build shelves and add more storage inside of it. So what was the total cost of the garage? Well, the bill of materials ended up on $2,500. That's quite a lot of money for a garage. More than the moped actually, but with the added benefit of lots of storage. One problem that needed solving was the battery charger. The battery itself goes into the seat and takes up most of that storage, which means there is no place to put the charger. And if I want to drive the full extent of the range of the moped, I need a place to store the charger on the moped. For that, I used a model on MakerWorld that is a rugged box that I think fits the aesthetic. The good thing about the model is that it's parametric, so you can change the size of it on MakerWorld. Now I had to make some customizations to be able to attach it to the moped and then print it. Mount it on the back, problem solved. The next and most concerning issue was the front. I had already attached this bracket that I ordered with the moped. I measured 2 shopping bags and decided to make something that would contrast all the black of the moped. For this build I didn't have a CAD model, just a measurement of 2 bags and some walnut. The last remnants of wood I got for the chair I made. I wanted to make more of those chairs, but that never happened, so instead I figured it would make a great crate. This project started during summer, but then the summer ended abruptly, and between having a vacation, going to England to spend time with friends of the podcast I record with Mr. Steve Bell, and spending time building the garage, the weather was getting increasingly worse, and I felt a slight disbelief in that this could actually work as a means of transportation. It was so much fun driving it during sunny days, but would I actually be able to use it, or would I have to admit to myself and my wife that I just made a hasty decision to buy something cool because the boy inside of me found an irrational argument for it? A crate isn't a complex build, it's just a couple of pieces of wood slapped together. But projects like this still takes time and induces annoyance. I was furious with my bandsaw for not being able to resaw perfectly. I was annoyed by the fact that milling wood too thin too fast can make the wood cup and warp. I was second guessing my choice of screws instead of proper woodworking. But despite all of those annoying things, seeing something come together makes it worth it.
Hello, welcome to the golden days. Right place and you're right on time. These moments are the ones you'll save. Hold on to for the rest of your life. These here are the golden days. These here are the golden days. Oh, we'll talk about these days 20 years from now. Lean in and look around.
I lasered a small logo onto it, and then seeing it turn into a proper crate feels good. Now this will be outdoors, so a bit of varnish will do the trick. To be able to bring some of the most used tools, I made a small leather case that can hold a small wrench, an Allen key, and my favorite EDC knife at the moment. This laser from Aeon has proven to be a very important part of my workshop. It's the versatility. I know it's an expensive tool, but just for this project, I've used it to make an acrylic sign, engrave the wood, and making this leather pouch. It even cuts the stitching holes for me, leaving me only to do the stitching. If you want to check out more, there's a link in the description. One more thing was going on the Moped. When I was visiting my good friend Steve, who has the channel Steve Bell Creates, I was mocking his tiny car a bit. And he told me one of the selling points of it was that it came with an umbrella. So to make Steve happy, I designed a small attachment to the side of the Moped that utilizes 2 of the screws, and it holds a small umbrella. Lastly, remember the secret print? Well, I modeled up a tiny attachment for an AirTag, because even though this thing has an alarm if someone touches it, I want a way to track it. So after printing that and adding a couple of bolts on the back and attached to the side of the Moped, I could place an AirTag inside and then screw that lid in place. It's an extra feature needed. If someone steals it, I can track them. It was time to make the maiden voyage to the store. Would it last all the way there and back? And would it actually work? Well, the weather wasn't really with me. Once the sun came out though, I went for it.
Things aren't easy to find, but if you're looking, you'll see plenty around. It's in the background and out in plain sight. Good things happen all the time. More than often, people will be kind, be good-hearted and help each other out. Good news won't often make the headlines, but good things happen all the time.
After some grocery shopping, I placed the bags on the moped and called my wife.
Hey, it's me. I just want to say I'm at the store now. I'm heading back home with groceries. All right, see you later.
As I started my return, I realized something. As I'd kept thinking that this purchase was just an unnecessary splurge caused by my inner child wanting to have some fun in life, I realized that why not? Why shouldn't we allow the inner child to come out and play? This made me happy. Sometimes your inner child makes bad financial decisions, but sometimes it makes the best memories. So why would I burden myself with bad conscience? I should just enjoy it, have fun, let that inner child out. You deserve it.
Keeping close who you spending with. And in time, what you find is the time is who you spend it with.